Welcome to the Crossroads. This is round 5 of the Formula Drift Pro Championship. One step closer to finding out who will be our 2025 FD champion overall.
These are our rankings. This is our point spread. It is a very close points race as we're into the final couple rounds of the year. Do you really? Is it a little Putin?
I wish. Again, how is Poutine not American is beyond me. Fries, cheese, and gravy. All right, speaking of gravy, let's pour some on it. Here we go. TLO, Tommy Lemaire in his Corvette, initiating the first outside zone, drops it right in. Brandon Sorensen in the chase position. Look at the speed by comparison. You know, it's hot. We got good grip. Again, the track has been cleared. They did have some practice runs right before this, as Chris Forsberg was talking about. Brandon Sorensen just dipping that back left in. This outside zone 4, this was a real point of interest in the driver's meeting. How do you approach that? And 1 and 4 are really points of interest because there's no walls. 2 and 3, you have the walls that are going to kind of keep you within the boundaries, but you got dirt that can bite back. Here goes Brandon Sorensen initiating. Tommy Lemaire tucking into that smoke. Brandon really well executed. I want to see that overhead view. Almost like he almost exceeded that initiation on the outside zone, but Brandon brings it in. Has a little smooch there, a little kiss on the forehead there from Brandon Sorensen on that outside zone 3, bringing it outside zone 4. Love that view from Justin Smash, our I liked how he initiated on 1, how he executed 4. So hats off to Brandon Sorensen, but Tommy Lemaire just had that slight edge. All right, well, there we are looking at Jonathan Castro and Jack Shanahan. Dominican Republic versus Ireland, Toyota versus BMW, 2 very talented drivers. Jonathan Castro getting his first ever podium, and here we are into that first outside zone. As we now go into that second outside zone, now into, you can see Shanahan tucking in to the side of the 86. Man, that BMW is small, but it makes that 86 look small as well. The Methyl Dom 86, and that last outside zone, he slides on in, and Shanahan tucks in. Man, the chase.
And then dive in. Connor, these running bumpers every time.
All right, like I said, couldn't put my finger on it. It sounds like a Canadian finger. Here we go, Mr. Shanahan leading now, and Castro into the second outside zone. You can see Shanahan, good angle. Want to see that overhead view of placement of Castro's car. Looks like he's a little late to the party. Outside zone 3, now transition to outside zone 4. That's what we're talking about. So you saw that handbrake. See how he coasted in outside zone 4? They really want to see him light off into it, but so hence why the feedback was there. So Castro gets his first ever podium in New Jersey, but Jack Shanahan. Love the attitude of the Mr. Cool Cadillac pilot, Jonathan Hurst. O'Sullivan, United States Army, BMW initiates. Look at that tire fire. He gets it lit right there and gets on that wick on that second outside zone. Jonathan Hurst, he applies the pressure, has to back off a little bit now to outside zone 3. He digs deep there, talking about O'Sullivan in that lead. And look at that, nice massaging into that last outside zone. Well executed by O'Sullivan. This is The Rhythm of the Night. It's a song I was thinking of right now. The rhythm of the night. Right, here we go. All right, the Mr. Cool Cadillac of Jonathan Hurst. O'Sullivan quickly gets to the side, and that's that fluidity that you're talking about. And look at, he comes out of the smoke and dives on in, almost rubber-to-rubber contact. That could definitely throw them for a tailspin, literally and figuratively. In that third outside zone, O'Sullivan now dives in on Jonathan Hurst, and he gets involved with that dirt. And about control across the finish line. Oh, we got to...
And Hurst does provide a pretty solid lead run throughout this entire thing, but these small corrections we see out of O'Sullivan to get the timing back in, and there it is, just a little bit too much.
But O'Sullivan does get the victory, but elaborate on that, if you will, Jacob, again.
So we put the fans right on time for top 32, and I knew that Brandon was going to be a great driver, always consistent, really fast, so I wanted to match the speed with him, and we did just enough to get the win, so it's an awesome start.
And now what about the stress level moving forward from top 16? Anything there?
I think each battle that we pass, it's a little bit less weight on my shoulders. So now it's just more fun, and hopefully we can get the next battle, and after that it's going to be only joy.
And talk about the camaraderie, building that car, putting it all together, and a testimonial that Lorette just brought up. But Ken Gucci, the OG since 2004, initiates that first outside zone. Jeff Jones actually going a little bit deeper, but did not see any of that dirt gravel machine gun getting sprayed out the back of the Z. We did see some contact there, that back right corner exploding from Ken Gucci. Want to see that overhead view of the big drift energy on the roof. Man, look at that thing throwing a gang sign out back and crossing the finish line. So,
sorry, I'm just taking a look to see, because in situations like this, they may be afforded a free fine. But we called it. Let's just go.
Oh, the comp. Let's just go ahead and send it, baby. USPS. And Jeff Jones does it once again. He lifts that front left. So, and you can see how dramatic it is, and that could really disrupt the car. So, kudos to Jeff Jones for actually maintaining that angle and bringing on.
Oh!
She shuts her down, and that could have been because of the contact. Don't know exactly, but Gucci does not complete the run in the chase position, and don't know, and I'm a little baffled why Ken did not call a competition timeout. We do have the, so Jeff Jones gets the win for this new generation of drifters, truly international, one jumping over from FD Japan and Japan in itself. And here he comes into that first outside zone. He got the victory at round 3, and here he is tearing it up in front of Austin Mata, that Launchpad Golf on the roof, and Hiroya Manoa, a Juku Racing vehicle into the outside zone 3. Now let's see how it transitions. Very good, fluid, and Austin Mata, it does not work out for him. You know, one of the tribes supports him. It's really cool to see that. And we just got a quick glimpse there of Ben Hobson. The hood was off his vehicle. I wonder what's going on there. Something's afoot. Austin Mata initiates into that first outside zone. And where is Manoa? No problem. He dives out of that smoke. Now, he needs to apply the pressure, keep it consistent. Doesn't need to do anything fancy because, unfortunately, as you said, Austin, he is dealing with a hurt wrist, and he spun out. You wonder if that came into play. So analyzing it and scrutinizing it, and it looks like the outcome. Oh, look at this. And that will be Dylan the Dozer Hughes versus Nick Novak. Dylan Hughes, who finished 12th in New Jersey. Nick Novak, he had to fight for his spot here in seating brackets. Dylan the Royal Purple BMW in the first outside zone. Nick Novak tucks in. A little more modern of a, you know, very, actually same years of BMWs now. Oh, and Dylan Hughes, you see it come a little unwound going to outside zone 3. Maybe anticipated being deeper into the outside zone. Now, a lot of handbrake there coming in, and again, then lighten it up. Nick's been driving really, really well this weekend. I think this track suits his driving style. Again, the all outside zones. He places the car properly, and he's got really great angle. Dylan with the attack in outside zone 1, slowly creeping up to the side of him, allows that transition in front of him. Novak, the degree of angle there, comes out of it a little bit, so very similar to what Dylan Hughes did on his first run. Now in outside zone 3, Dylan with great proximity, now outside zone 4. See that quick little stabs of the handbrake as opposed to just yanking on it, causing that car to slide. Because
in this case, Dylan Hughes.
Dylan Hughes gets the victory. Great. He is capable of as a driver. So here we go. Ben Hobson, Frederick Osbo, and Ben Hobson, he's got Osbo's face on his wheel, so he's going to put it right to him. Stick it to the wall, stick it to the door, stick it to the side of the Supra. Outside zone 2, here they go. Frederick Osbo, look at Ben Hobson diving in. This is exactly what I was anticipating, expecting. Frederick Osbo with a solid, good, dynamic lead run. Drifts right onto outside zone 4. Ben Hobson in tow, across the finish line. He won the Prospect Championship 3 years ago. Sophomore season for him. Now he's got the clean air, and he's got a very capable machine. Here goes Ben Hobson, initiates. I know they were having some issues. The throttle was sticking earlier. That's why the hood was off. So now coming to the second outside zone. Frederick Osbo gives him a lot of room. Lacking the angle. Ben Hobson, massive angle into outside zone 3. Frederick Osbo trying to nose in, massaging outside zone 4. There goes Ben Hobson. Quick little drift. Freddie's face goes around and crosses that finish line. And it was definitely aggressive, but Frederick Osbo gets the win unanimously. Some great driving.
Yeah, it's exactly it. So Osbo's got to keep on that run as we now get a really, really epic battle here. Derek Madison and Connor Shanahan out into our first outside zone.
Yeah, here we go as we are seeing D-Mads out front. Shanahan diving in with that 86. There goes Derek Madison, that coilover depot vehicle outside zone 3. You can see him filling all of it. Connor Shanahan very fluid. Would like to see him be a little more aggressive and what we know, and now bringing it across the finish line. Going all the way across country. He's doing double duty. He's doing Drift Masters. He's doing FD. You know, he's doing life. And here we go, as they all are. But Connor Shanahan You can see that yank of the handbrake, and Derek Madison gets into formation, has to back off a little bit there, going to outside zone 2. Good angle now with Connor in the fresh air. Man, look at that. Slingshots his way from 2 to 3. Derek Madison, a little shallow on outside zone 3. Shanahan brings on in, and there's that grip. You saw the car grip up and almost jet out and beeline. All right, Derek Madison, so one more time. So there it is. So you guys both were not great. Let's see it again. We want to say, like, that was so good. Let's see it again and really rise to the occasion. So we'll see if Derek Madison can do it right now. Now Silver's coilover depot, S-chassis transition. Oh, look at Connor. All right, well, he says here, I'll watch this transition. So you talked about Jack having that kind of back off. That wasn't the case there. That was more of a similar to his older brother now in his last outside zone. You can see him, looks like D-Mads hit a little beehive there. To hang out with him at Goodwood Festival Speed. He had some great things to say about series driving and all of it, and he's a great young man. Here goes Connor Shanahan, filling all of that outside zone 1, and there it is into outside zone 2. D-Matt shutting her down as Justin Smash finds another drone and puts it right to the side of that. Oh no, what do we got here? It looks like, is he going to power through this last outside zone? And Connor finishes it. What were you oohing about? The little BB there.
There it is.
Look at that.
Yeah.
Tire held on loosely and didn't let go by the rubber of his teeth.
But really what we want to see is where did that...
That tap.
That looked like the wheel exploded on the wall, is what I'm thinking. He got into the wall just a little bit, but holds that.
Yeah, baby. That was good. Left for Madison or right for Connor Shanahan. Even with the songs of the tire leaving his vehicle. His most recent Corvette for him, definitely a weapon. Coming to this first outside zone, puts it right there. Oh boy, Brudski, that dirt fought back, and he goes off course. Matt Field will continue on through the course, and he does need to do that. So now coming into outside zone 4 and bringing it around. So one of the cameras just getting obliterated there.
Having a pretty decent contact. So yeah, look at that. I mean, Field pushing it, and Brudski just, trying to keep pace throughout it. But drivers that have qualified for an event, just about 300. It's like 296.
All right, well, Chris Forsberg is one of them, as is Rudy Hansen, obviously. Here we go, Chris Forsberg in that first outside zone, the all-new NOS Energy Drink Nissan Z. Rudy Hansen dives out of the smoke. Forsberg into that second outside zone and into the third. Rudy Hansen tucking in nicely, really mimicking the angle of Forsberg into outside zone 4. Rudy Hansen dives in on the inside. That is not the line you want to be on by Hansen, but Forsberg, it is Rudy Hansen out front. Christopher Forsberg in the chase position. Let's see if Hansen can rise to the occasion. He's going to try to force an error of Forsberg because, again, that outside zone 4 by Hansen, he went really shallow on it, and there goes Hansen into outside zone 2. He fills all of it. Chris Forsberg, good proximity. Now coming to outside zone 3. Hansen brings it on in. He is definitely putting down a heater of a lead run. Forsberg slides on. Ooh, Hansen gets involved with the dirt. He straightens out across the finish line. That is going to hurt him. Mushrooms? Fun guy?
Fun guy.
He's pretty fly for a fun guy. Irish Strip Championship, European, Oman, he's got it all. And the only 4-time FD champion, James the Machine Dean, throws it on in and uses all the course. Fiorella gets out to that outside zone eventually, now diving in on the second outside zone. James the Machine Dean into the outside zone 2, and the 3 sticking to it like Velcro. Now into that last outside zone. The Irish pilot brings it on in. I mean, textbook. And King Kong is James Dean. Didn't know King Kong was Irish because he is definitely a beast. But look at that, the Fiorella, the Ferrari going round, and James Dean just bathing in the smoke. Look at him, he's on that right-hand drive. And, I mean, does he need to do that? I don't think so, but he just feels compelled. This gentleman, I feel like he was born with a steering wheel in his hand, and that throws him off. So, all right, there it is, James the Machine Dean and Federico Sciarrifo. Looks like James Dean gets the victory. James was camping now. He was spotted for Federico Sciarrifo. Might have a little inside communication, maybe utilizing, but obviously not enough. Here we go. Simon Olsen here going against Ryan Turk. Simon Olsen in that Mark V Toyota Supra, now transitioning into that second outside zone. Ryan Turk gripping up. We saw him coming shallow in that second outside zone. Simon Olsen filling all of outside zone 3. Want to see how deep he was. There's that angle that we can definitely all appreciate, including the judges, or most importantly the judges. GR Corolla. Let's see what Ryan Turk can do. We had a great time time at Goodwood Festival Speed of this past weekend. And here he comes in, a good angle here. Now we're talking about competitive drifting, not just ripping that 66 stout. Dials into the second. So here is exactly what he needs to do. Ryan Turk placed the car perfectly. Well done, but cannot shake Simon Olsen. Oh, and just as I say that, Simon comes out of the smoke over undershoot, excuse me, that outside zone 4. I'm good, dude.
It'd be weird. I think it'd be strange.
I think it'd be really odd.
Yeah.
All right, so there we go. Oh, look at this one more time. The knowledge that he learned driving for Odie and applying it now to the Supra, I feel like he's a different driver with this marriage of man and machine. So Simon Olsen out front, Ryan Turk drops that back right and looks more Dirt X as opposed to Rain X, that Toyota GR Corolla. Now that second outside zone, he struggles a little bit once again as Simon Olsen fills the second, now into the third, and out of that into the fourth outside zone and bring it across the finish line. He wires a lot of different vehicles there. Definitely a talented young man, Mr. Hartsock. So as Ryan Turk initiates across the nose of that Mark V Supra, the Toyota GR Corolla transitions. Need to see that overhead view. Where was Simon in that smoke? Comes a little unwound there. We saw some contact, but keeps on pace into this last outside zone. How are they going to navigate? Man, that Corolla is kicking off a ton of smoke from James Dean. And look at this. Ryan Turk gets the victory overall. As we move on here in our Rockstar Engineering Top 32, Odie Bakshis. Whoa, buddy! That was a two-wheel motion. The Dirt grabbed his car, threw it up.
Get back to our replay here. I'm really interested to see how this all came together. So Odie threw it always fast, has such a good launch, but yeah, just a little wide, just goes wide. And
then you got James Dean versus Ryan Turk, and then now Andy Haley versus RCP or Dan Burkett. That will be our final battle. So there's Andy Haley in the Evil Autoworks BMW, the Drift Wizard, with some sorcery, maybe put a spell on Odie Bakshis and harness the power of the dirt to come up and grab him by the wheel. But Andy Haley will get the victory. And Ryan said it, I think we were just talking about, he said it very honestly. He says, this is the way it's judged, this is criteria, hats off to Simon, this is the way it went, I'm stoked. So here we go, one more battle left. RCP and Rad Dan Burkett. Whoa, wrong turn there for RCP. Dan Burkett.
Let's see. Rome there, and then, yeah, big dive, body check, and Rome it looks like Rome's trying to throttle out of it to keep things going.
Again, a lot of these drivers really give back, almost like a drifter philanthropy. All right, here we go. Rad Dan Burkett initiating in his first outside zone, that Mark IV Toyota Supra. Good, clean initiation, just really turning on the smoke machine into the second outside zone. So RCP brings it on in. He's back there quite a bit, so he is definitely fighting those banged up gremlins underneath the vehicle. Now coming to last outside zone 4, really almost tapping that wall, putting down one solid lead run. Is that enough? RCP back there quite a bit. And here it is. So Rome Charpentier gets 1 vote, 2 votes, and 3 votes. We can see Adam LZ poised on the line. He won at our previous round in New Jersey. That's why he is sitting number 1. Here goes Adam LZ across the nose. That Corvette of Tommy Lemaire goes in that first outside zone. Drops a little tire, a little bit of dirt. The Viper chair is keeping him comfortable. And now into that second outside zone in the shop. Into that third outside zone goes Adam LZ. Looking, stock lock, ready to rock as TLO drops into formation. Man, get a frame because that is a masterpiece. That's all it's missing. Crossing that finish line is Adam LZ and a TLO crossing it. Not how dominant, how clean, placing the car, mimicking that angle, living in the pocket, rent-free, right there. Tommy Lemaire, the Canadian pilot, out front in that XPN Corvette. Boom, initiate, right to angle. Good job, straight line approach, no feint, no pre-drift before drifting in the outside zone. In the second outside zone, Tommy Lemaire, a lot more comfortable with that fresh air. Adam LZ drops in, tries to gain some ground at outside zone 3 now, navigating, flicking to outside zone 4. There goes Tommy Lemaire. Adam LZ, bit of distance, but I will tell you the placement of the BMW. And look at, he's sitting third place, and now he gets the win. He advances on. Okay, so here we go as, again, Just want to make sure Jack Shanahan, Trenton Beecham, and here we go. Shanahan leading into that first outside zone. Trenton Beecham right there in the smoke. These guys entering in a second outside zone. Trent really applying the pressure. Like I said, when it comes together for him, he really shines. Jack using all of the outside zone 3. Trent, what the heck? He is absolutely, he's flirting with disaster there. And now here he is, just slowly, just gaining more and more ground. And he's proven not only his team, but himself on how talented of a driver is. So let's see it. Here we go. Trenton Beecham's got the clean air. Jack Shanahan drops into formation. Again, in that pink and white BMW. Trenton Beecham into the second outside zone. You can see digging really deep. Just painting that outside line, going to outside zone 3. Minimal corrections from those front wheels. Transitioning through. There goes Trent. And look at that. Jack Shanahan tucked in. Here we go. It's Jack Shanahan getting the victory. Roll the tape. He had quite a crazy New Jersey. A tree fell on his car, but he came back better than ever. Tip to tail initiating. Oh, Sully right there. Digs deep, flirting with the dirt in there. Now in that second outside zone, fills all of it. Look at that early entry, that transition. Barely slowed the car down. Jeff says, move. Get out the way like ludicrous. Into that third outside zone. Now into that final outside zone. Jeff Jones had to check up, see how close he was. And then, oh boy, Houston, we got a problem.
Back on him now. We get into this transition. Connor looked really, really solid, but then just over rotates, and Jeff's got nowhere to go with all that speed.
Therefore, Jeff Jones will take his bye run, and Jeff Jones advances into the Great 8 in his Evil Autoworks Nissan 370Z. Jeff Jones, again, he was part of the Send It video series, and I'm sure if you live under a rock and you follow drifting, or if you don't live under, regardless, Jersey, holy cow, that weather was #1 most violent storm we've ever had in FD history. A tree fell on his car. But talk about the camaraderie of the Formula Drift family. Hero Manoa for short. Dylan the Dozer Hughes. He knows he likes this track, but I'll tell you what, Dylan, he's got that special sauce when he pours it on. Hiroya Manoa initiated the first outside zone. Dylan Hughes tucks in. You can see those green Excel lights going in the second outside zone. Tucks into the pocket. Yes, sir. Again, showing this young buck what he can do. The O'Reilly Auto Parts Royal Purple BMW now in that last outside zone. Gives him a little bit of room to transition and then jump back to the side of it. Learning better English, just his electricity, his enthusiasm is infectious. But Dylan Hughes is as awesome as all is. He wants to take him down. Here we go. That Royal Purple BMW in that first outside zone, transitioning properly into second outside zone. Hiroya jumping to the side of the BMW. Good angle from Dylan Hughes. The Dozer, look at that. Just deep in outside zone 3. Hiroya dives in on the inside. He straightens out quite a bit of outside zone 4. Want to get that overhead view. Hero Manoa, Dylan Hughes, one more time. A D Hughes, and Dylan Hughes gets the win. A lot of people cheering him on from across the pond and right here in the States. The Norwegian Hammer about to be dropped on the Shadow, but hearing that nickname because everywhere you go, he goes. Connor the Shadow Shanahan right there chasing down that big Toyota Supra into that second outside zone. Connor Shanahan diving on the inside, good proximity, but he needs to tuck back, not exceed those front wheels. In the outside zone 3, Frederick Osbo, we talk about having more fun, getting loose. Connor Shanahan barely just lets him on by, opens the door like a fine gentleman, but then slams the door in his face. Speaking of Taco Bell, check out the Rockstar Refrescos at Taco Bell. Here we go, Connor Shanahan out front through that start chicane, tip to tail. Here goes Frederick Osbo, straight line approach with that faint entry of Connor Shanahan and Osbo, 3-time champ. Gives him a little bit of room. He is your points leader, so this has implications of the championship if Connor takes him out and puts him in a roadblock and puts him in a chokehold. The Shadow now is leading with Frederick Osbo. Like I said, look at that. Give him just enough room. That is a sign of a veteran. Youthful attitude and something to prove. And there it is, Frederick Osbo. Staggering amount of battles there as Matt Field will lead. Borla Performance initiates straight line approach, goes in, fills that outside zone. Forsberg bathed in smoke, now transitioning into outside zone 2. Tucks right in, right behind him. Good angle, both of them keeping it locked and loaded. Outside zone 3, Field a little bit deeper. Then Chris Forsberg down outside zone 4. Matt Field maxing out the angle and brings it across, and Forsberg dropped into formation. You know, if you're a high jump, you want to go for it. Pole vault, get on up there, grab that pole, and send it. Here we go. Christopher Forsberg in that all-new Z initiates and transitions in. Gangster entry by Christopher Forsberg, that VR-powered all-new Z in a second outside zone. The heat wave is on into the third outside zone now. Big angle from Forsberg. Matt Field tucking on in the 777, pulling that one-arm band-aid into the outside zone 4. Drops in as Chris Forsberg versus the beast from the Bay, Matt Field. One more time, and they're going at it again. Here we go, Matt Field will be out front. Chris Forsberg in the chase position through that start chicane. Across the nose of that Z. Forsberg, all right, go ahead and do those things in front of me. I'm gonna drop right in on you as Matt Field goes that second outside zone. Interesting approach. Want to see that overhead for Matt Field. See if he timed that properly. Chris Forsberg back there a little bit, not as close proximity as we saw, but he could be lurching forward, just slowly, progressively gaining that proximity. And he does just that, see? Yeah, got the Grid Live fam, they're watching, and here we go, back to the action. Christopher Forsberg and the all-new Z initiates in that first outside zone. Matt Field, a little flambe of the Corvette. Now transition to the second outside zone, goes Chris Forsberg. Ooh, brings it all the way out, almost taps that back bumper. Going to outside zone 3, all the way out once again, using all of the course. In outside zone 4 goes Forsberg, and Matt Field into crossing. I mean, boom.
Yeah. Let's see.
It was a close one, according to the fans. They said Matt Field by 54%. And there it is, Matt Field one more time. And Matt Field. And the lights extinguish on the sides. Boom. It's go time. James Machine Dean defending an only 4-time FD champion. Tip to tail. Initiating goes James Dean. Look at that. Just bang that right to angle. Fires off into that second outside zone. Ryan Turk knows he can trust James Dean. He knows where he's going to go. He knows what to expect. He is, hence the name The Machine, just absolutely on rails. Look at that. That's what I'm talking about. That outside zone 4, it's unrivaled. Now Ryan Turk out front. He's got the clean air coming into this first outside zone. Tip for tap right there. Ryan Turk initiates. James Dean tucks in. He was right there. And actually, he was even deeper in that first outside zone. Good proximity, but I'll tell you what, doesn't mimic the exact angle of Ryan Turk and that hot hatchback coming that last outside zone. Ryan Turk does it, executes flawlessly. Well done by Ryan Turk. Slams up the transition. Here we go, slide him left for James Dean, a right for Ryan Turk. Looks like James Dean gets 1 vote, 2 vote, and unanimous. James the Machine Dean. BMW's got the clean-shaven RCP and the very hairy, but far from scary, Andy Haley in the chase position. There's RCP and Andy Haley, the drift wizard, straightening out, going out of the outside zone 1, very shallow. That's not going to get done. That Evo AutoWorks BMW RCP, if he keeps it sideways, he could definitely have an advantage going into the second run. Rome Charpentier, Garagistic, Pedal Commander BMW crosses the finish line. Here we go as Andy Haley will lead. The system is down. Here we go, Andy Haley into that outside zone, and RCP, look at that. So a little bit of wavering there, not shallow by RCP, but you got to think here, so almost mimicking what Haley did. And I'm a little awestruck and speechless. Coming to the last outside zone 4, and there they go. As he is a tall drink of water. RCP gets the victory over Andy Haley. Here we go, the lights extinguish and Adam LZ will lead. Jack Shanahan, I expect a big gangster entry, really risking it in that BMW in the chase position. Bang, right there, look at that. Old school, new school, and we are in the true school. Into that second outside zone, look at that big angle there from Adam LZ. Jack Shanahan, good proximity. Coming now in that third outside zone. There he is. Now he's lunging forward. Lets him pass on by an outside zone 4. I'm telling you right now, this is exactly what I expected. Just to refresh both us and the judge's memory. Here we go, Jack Shanahan initiating in that first outside zone. Adam LZ drops into formation. Adam LZ was talking about not getting ice, but looks like he is cool as a cucumber. In that second outside zone, whatever Jack does, Adam LZ twists the screws and gives it back. Third outside zone. Now, how are they going to handle this last and final outside zone 4? Contact by LZ and pushing Jack Shanahan out of the way.
Third outside zone, though, both drivers just absolutely at it. Now, right here, it's where the drama begins. Jack is getting through that zone.
Slide him left for LZ, a right for Jack Shanahan. Takes down Adam LZ. Dylan Hughes and Jeff Jones. Dylan Hughes in the Royal Purple O'Reilly BMW. Jeff Jones initiates. Dylan Hughes in that first outside zone. You can see him, that back right coming into the second outside zone. Jeff Jones coming in a little bit shallower. Definitely has that proximity down to outside zone 3. Like it. Both of them are tuned up. Now coming in the last outside zone. Looks like Dylan kind of lunges away from Jeff Jones. One and done. So Adam LZ uses comp timeout as well. So there it is, Jack and LZ. But back to the action of Jones and Hughes. Jones, whoa! Dylan Hughes overshoots. Want to see that overhead there, but Dylan gets in the grass. Jeff Jones does need to continue on his run. Was that just an absolute mental lapse by Dylan Hughes, or was he affected by Jeff in that lead run? This is why I just don't jump to conclusions.
All right, Jeff Jones out front, Dylan Hughes falling behind Jeff with that initiation. Dylan, okay, so this is interesting.
Jeff Jones out front, so look at him, transition. There's the 3, 2, 1, he initiates. Brake lights are on.
Yeah, and
but does it impede? So right for Jeff Jones, and there it is. Jeff Jones gets one, and it's a one more time. So, you know, this is shaking things up here. And like we said, the 4 previous rounds, different winner every round. Is it going to be a new winner? TBD. Here we go. Dylan Hughes in that first outside zone. Really good, clinical, nothing over crazy, overzealous. In his second outside zone, Jeff Jones way shallow. Come on, mate. Come on back here, mate. Slide it on back here. Jeff Jones in outside zone 3. Now navigating outside zone 4 goes the Royal Purple O'Reilly Auto Parts BMW. Boom. Tick, tick, boom. All right, here we go.
Easy, Chester.
Yeah. And Jeff Jones out front is saying, calm down. He's nothing but love. And you put that backwards, that's evil. Evil Auto Works, that Nissan 370Z now ripping into that second outside zone. And Dylan Hughes, he drops into formation, that big drift energy, harnessing it and bringing it on in. Jeff Jones puts the car in the right place. Well done, but Dylan just a little bit deeper by comparison to Jeff Jones, brings it on home. Dylan Hughes gets the victory over Jeff Jones. Matt Field would love to Alto put him. Oh boy, across the nose, shots fired. Look at me, I'm the captain now. Frederick Osbo and Matt Field getting phased. What just happened there? That was insane. Frederick Osbo going across the nose, a different strategy, the Scandinavian flick, and living up to the Norwegian hammer name. Man, if Matt Field was a nail, he just hammered him down. Yeah, he makes some banging barbecue, so I'll be over to his pits later. Here we go, Matt Field, the Beast of the Bay. He is leading tip to tail with that Supra in tow. And there goes Matt Field. Good angle from him coming into that second outside zone. Straight line approach. Frederick Osbo, pretty shallow. Maybe he's got an issue, and maybe that's why he initiated, and that's why they're not showing their cards. That could be an issue. I don't know. So we will find out. And going to that last outside zone, Matt Field brings it on home. And here we go. Slide him left for Osbo, right for Matt Field. Osbo gets 1 vote, 2 votes, and Frederick Osbo gets the victory. Lights are on. Once they extinguish, James Dean will leave the start line. Here goes James through that start chicane. No cones are hit. We got a clean start. James Dean getting the clean air, initiates into that Pennzoil Platinum Ford Mustang. Now transition in that second outside zone. Rome Charpentier dives in, dives forward, a little shallow there now to outside zone 3. Settled is that Ford Mustang. Just on rails, exactly what we'd expect and anticipate. Textbook once again, Rome Charpentier and the Garagistic BMW. What kind of platform, what kind of canvas is RCP going to paint for James Dean to chase him down? Here comes that Garagistic BMW into that first outside zone. You can see James Dean getting to the side of that BMW, just letting him transition right in front of him. And James Dean, look at him, just kind of bowling around, push him around. Looks like a little body panel came off RCP's vehicle in James Dean's face. Now bringing it on home. Look at that. I mean, I just love it. Love the camaraderie. And RCP, he's knocked out. James Dean gets the win. Look at Shelby with the sigh and the exhale. They are Type S lights here in the final 4. Dylan the Dozer Hughes will lead. Jack Shanahan giving chase. An American versus an Irish. Here we go in that first outside zone. Dylan Hughes, good and settled. Shanahan lurking back in the shadows. Comes up a bit short, but great proximity. There is that. Let's see him allow that transition from 3 to 4. Boom, right across the nose of the BMW. In outside zone 4 goes Dylan Hughes.
Try and do everything to shake off Dylan the Dozer Hughes. Oh, look at that to start.
Yeah, here we go. Jack Shanahan firing off. Sans that front bumper. Jack Shanahan, good angle, but Dylan Hughes in the chase position. This is what I was talking about. The victory is really going to be decided in that chase position, and Dylan Hughes gets into formation. Good proximity. Is he mimicking it? I feel like we're going to get side by side, because look at that. Dylan Hughes bites off a little bit more than he could chew. and they both cross the finish line. So you and the Irish drivers all there. One more time, a Dylan Hughes, and a one more time. Frederick Osbo again leading the points championship. James Dean, 4-time and defending champion, leaving that start chicane. All right, that Pennzoil Ford Mustang coming into that first outside zone. Big angle from him, almost getting to the edge of that course, but that dirt will bite back. Contrary to popular belief, the gravel machine gun does hurt. Now James Dean, that Pennzoil Ultra Platinum Ford Mustang into outside zone 3. Frederick Osbo, is he mimicking that angle? Leaving it in the judge's hands, pulling across the line. Frederick Osbo spins. James the Machine Dean, let's make quick work of it. James Dean is going to the finals. James Dean, 10 points richer, and look at this. Reese, you sided with...
Oh, interesting.
That was Freddie. Jack Shanahan at pace. Let's see these BMWs initiate into that first outside zone. There goes Dylan Hughes. Shanahan tucking in. Really nothing to lose. Going for that Rookie of the Year. Shanahan brings in a second outside zone. Great proximity from Shanahan. Look at that. Even more angle than Dylan, it seemed like. Coming that last outside zone, that 4 tucks it on in. Jack Shanahan comes up a bit short. Did one of these guys. Jack Shanahan out front. He's going to need to put down a heater of a run into that first outside zone. Flirts with the edge of the track. Dylan Hughes chasing him down. Let's see how he manages in the second outside zone. Doesn't have the same degree of angle. Kind of give himself a little bit of room here. Let's see how it transitions in. And Shanahan goes in. Some wavering there by Dylan Hughes. Is that enough? He did eventually get to the outside zone 4. We'll see if that comes to fruition. Is it going to be an all-Irish final? Yes, it is! Jack Shanahan gets the victory. Can Jack Shanahan rise to the occasion on his FD Pro Rookie year as we are about to enter the finals of round 5 of the Formula Drift Pro Championship? James the Machine Dean will lead, again, a 4-time champion, defending champion in that Pennzoil Ford Mustang. Here comes Jack Shanahan in tow in that BMW. James Dean across the nose of Shanahan. Shanahan drops back, slides back. Great angle from James Dean. Again, no tomfoolery, but Jack Shanahan dives in the inside. That is not where you want to be. Looks like he is buffering here in this situation. James Dean keeps pace. He knows exactly what he needs to do. Goes to outside zone 4. Textbook once again. Hence the name The Machine. He's going to try to force an error. James Dean, the finals are here. We know that an Irishman is going to win. Is it going to be Jack Shanahan on his rookie year getting a victory? Or is James the Machine Dean going to live up to his name once again and assume the tie for the points lead after round 5? Going to outside zone 3. Jack Shanahan puts in the right place. James Dean tucks in nicely. James Dean applying the pressure. Looks like, again, he's not going to make a mistake. It looks like James Dean will be earning that victory. Third place here at St. Louis, round 5 of the Formula Drift Pro Championship. Slide on over there, Rockstar Energy Drink Pilot. Third place here in St. Louis, round 5. Frederick the Norwegian Hammer Osbo. And now your winner here at round 5 of the Formula Drift Pro Championship. It was a hard-fought battle. We saw the heat, we saw the rain, and we saw one Irishman rise to the top just a little bit more. And your winner, unanimously, here in St. Louis, the Crossroads, is James the Machine Dean gets the win, and now is tied for the points lead and making history. Second place on his Formula Drift rookie season. Make some noise for Jack Shanahan. Second place here at round 5 of the Formula Drift Pro Championship. And look at the standings going into round 6. We'll see you in Seattle, eventually Utah, and eventually tickets go on sale Monday. So buy them now. Who's going to be our 2025 champion? We'll find out in Long Beach. The point standing, Odie still in contention. He's 100 points out. Cash are 80 points out, but 100 points richer. Brandon Sorensen, RCP, you see it. Connor O'Sullivan, Daniel Stuckey, and Connor Shanahan.